The Nissan Frontier is one of the mid-sized trucks that never stops to amaze us. This truck is a really good deal considering its price. However, not a lot of buyers are aware of it. Buyers opt to go for the Toyota Tacoma and the Chevy Colorado. This is why for 2025, Nissan has introduced a refresh of the Nissan Frontier with new looks and better performance. So follow along to see if the 2025 Nissan Frontier fixes the 5 worst flaws of the Frontier's previous model. Number 5. Platform. Now let's start with the core of this truck, which is the platform. The platform is basically the skeleton of the truck. This truck, just like its competitors, is based on a body-on-frame chassis. So what does this mean? Well, this means that the body of the truck, as well as the bed, are placed on top of a rectangular frame. This frame consists of 2 beams going from the front to the rear end of the truck, and these beams are connected to form a rectangle. This is a pretty old school way of designing vehicles, but for trucks, this is mandatory since these vehicles are made for towing. Regular unibody platforms are not cutting it because these platforms are only good for comfortable driving. We also have a unibody midsize truck, the Honda Ridgeline, and this truck can only tow up to 5,000 pounds. So you see why body-on-frame designs are winning in the midsize segment. What is a problem for the Nissan Frontier is the fact that this model is based on a really old platform. This platform is more than a decade old, and this is felt on how this truck drives. This old chassis brings old suspension components and basically limits the progress in development and design. So the modern Nissan Frontier also drives as a Nissan Frontier from 10 years ago. This is sad because these new competitor trucks are packing some serious performance, and reportedly this will stay for the 2025 model year. The new Frontier might get some new looks and new design, but the model core structure will stay practically the same. So this means that this model will not get a new frame and new suspension. You, as a buyer, will have to deal with the old suspension and performance that this truck has right now. But there's one big news for the 2025 model year, and that's the fact that the crew cab will get a longer wheelbase version. So what this means is that there will be the option to get the largest cab with the largest bed. This will make the Frontier so unique because in the midsize lineup, there's no truck that comes in such a configuration. Having a 6-foot bed with a crew cab will be a complete game changer for Nissan and definitely a thing that will bring the company a bunch of sales. Number 4. Powertrain. Let's talk about powertrains. As you probably know, the powertrain is one of the most important aspects of a pickup truck. The engine has to deliver good power in order to be considered a good purchase. And sadly, we can inform you that the new Nissan Frontier will keep the old engine. This means that there will be no turbocharged option like the ones we see in competitor trucks. This makes the Nissan Frontier one of the last of its kind with its naturally aspirated V6. For those who don't know, many competitors, including Toyota, Ford, and Chevy, have abandoned the V6. Instead, they use turbocharged inline-4 engines that create some solid power under the hood. But not Nissan. This company wants to keep the old-school V6. And honestly, the V6 isn't that bad. This model comes with a 3.8-liter V6 that outputs up to 310 horsepower and 281 pound-feet of torque. This is a decent amount of torque. However, the power is not available low on the RPM band. This creates some power delay since you need to build up momentum in order to get the maximum performance of your truck. This is a problem for some of the buyers who want to get a really responsive truck. Competitors like the Tacoma and Colorado have far more punchier powertrains that react instantly and deliver some incredible numbers. For example, the Colorado with its inline-4 turbo delivers up to 310 horsepower and 430 pound-feet of torque. This is a massive 150 pound-feet of torque difference compared to the Frontier. So considering these numbers, we strongly hope that Nissan will bring a turbocharged engine in the near future and will improve the performance of this truck for the better. But since they didn't include this in this year's refresh, it can take a couple of years until we see a revolution in this area and the Frontier to get a brand new powertrain. But time will tell what will happen. You just never know when and how Nissan can surprise us with a brand new powertrain in this mid-sized pickup truck. When it comes to transmissions, this model will keep the good old 9-speed automatic that is fairly reliable and good at saving fuel. Number 3. Towing and payload. Now, let's discuss one of the biggest problems that the Nissan Frontier had previously, and that's towing and payload. This model was simply not up to task and performed fairly poorly when compared to its competitors. Just for reference, the Chevy Colorado and Jeep Gladiator can tow up to 7,700 pounds, and the Nissan Frontier can only tow up to 6,720 pounds. That's almost a 1,000-pound difference between these trucks. Nissan simply had to close the gap and allow the Frontier to be better at its main task, which is towing. So for 2025, we see a great improvement in terms of the numbers that this truck produces. The 2025 Nissan Frontier is able to tow up to 7,150 pounds. This is 510 pounds more compared to the previous model, and Nissan has really closed the gap in this aspect by allowing this model to tow a lot more. So now the Frontier easily beats competitors such as the Honda Ridgeline and Toyota Tacoma. The payload numbers will reportedly stay the same with the new model, up to 1,600 pounds. There will not be many surprises there, but overall, considering these numbers, the Frontier is a fairly good performer. Number 2. Fuel economy. We live in 2024, and buyers these days want to get something really efficient for their hard-earned dollar. Gas prices are exploding, and this makes a ton of buyers be more cautious about where they spend their money. The Nissan Frontier for 2025 keeps the same powertrain and platform. This means that the numbers will stay the same. The Frontier will get you up to 18 mpg in the city and 24 mpg on the highway. This is pretty average for modern standards, but also not one of the worst performers in this area. Considering the fact that this model packs a V6, the numbers are actually pretty decent. Whether we'll see improvement in these numbers, only time will tell. The only way to make the numbers better will be to implement a mild hybrid setup. With this setup, this model could achieve up to 28 mpg combined, which is miles ahead of the current performance. That's why we cross our fingers and hope that Nissan will solve this problem in the near future with a hybrid powertrain. Number 1. Exterior, interior, and features. Now, let's talk about one of the biggest problems with the Nissan Frontier, which is its outdated exterior design. This model, although pretty new, aged really fast. Nissan understood this problem and decided to act quickly and introduce many new upgrades for the 2025 model year. This new model year implements a new, revised look all around. The front end keeps the same design language, but it became a lot beefier. There's a massive grille in the front and a massive bumper. This is a trend these days, and we can say that Nissan did a really good job when it comes to this. This new design approach improved the presence of the truck significantly. This new truck is all about boldness and aggression. This will definitely bring a ton of sales for Nissan. For the Pro X and Pro 4X trims, the tailgate was also revised by adding a new layer of black trim across the tailgate. We honestly think that this is a pretty great touch by Nissan, since it transforms the look of this truck to a great extent. In addition to this, you also get 17-inch wheels that look spectacular. Besides this, there's a special new color for 2025. This color is called Afterburn Orange. This color really reminds of Toyota's TRD orange color. The interior was also redesigned. This 2025 model has finally got a revised dashboard that is centered around a massive 12.3-inch infotainment screen that comes on the SV, SL, Pro X, and Pro 4X. This screen is a massive upgrade over the current 9-inch display that's used in the current model. For those who don't want to use the Nissan infotainment, there's also the option to use wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. All trims come with a standard telescoping steering wheel. Besides this, you also have a 4-way power adjustable passenger seat, sliding rear window, sunglass holder, wireless charger, and a surround view camera on the SL trim. Overall, the biggest upgrades for the 2025 model year come in the form of exterior redesign and features. This new model is definitely a nice addition over the previous Frontier.